I slowed down the final Superman trailer to 0.01x speed, and it blew my mind. Jaw-dropping clues are hiding in plain sight. Lex is trying to kill Superman with Kryptonite, and Superman is giving up on being a hero. This will be the darkest Superman movie yet, and away we go. Superman will be overwhelmed in this upcoming movie because he will have to deal with many things, including an international conflict. When we see Superman as Clark Kent for the first time, fumbling through the busy streets of Metropolis, he is on his way to the Daily Planet holding a newspaper with a curious headline and picture. The police officer at the entrance of the Daily Planet is holding the same paper. So the news being reported is pretty much a big deal. The headline of the paper reads, "Hammer of Baravia creates havoc downtown." The picture beneath the headline is that of a heavily armored man, and there have been suggestions that the man could be Grodd wearing some sort of battle armor. Grodd has a history of trying to dominate humans, and he can conduct grievous acts of terrorism. But what is a Flash villain doing in a Superman movie? Does this mean we should expect a Flash cameo?
Hello?
Director James Gunn is trying to create an interconnected DC universe as early as possible. But I don't think Grodd is the man in the armor. I think the man in the armor is the Iron Duke, and his attack on downtown Metropolis could be revenge on Superman. In the comics, Iron Duke is a treasonous nobleman who attempts to take control of Baravia through a coup. This background could be the same in the movie, and his coup could be what led to the crisis at Baravia's border, which GBS News reported in another scene in the trailer. In the comics, Superman faced off against Baravia's military and could end up doing the same here, especially with the people of Baravia requesting his help. A Baravian child believes so much in Superman solving the problem that he flew a flag with Superman's logo despite the massive explosions and conflict on the border. Superman's interference could stop Iron Duke's coup and end the crisis, which would make Iron Duke target the downtown Metropolis as revenge. What do you think of this theory? Just as Superman will have his hands full, so will Clark Kent. When Clark entered the Daily Planet building, trying as much as possible to hide his massive body and height, he went straight to his work desk. On his bulletin board, there are various things in it. He has a newspaper clip about environmental justice, which will be connected to some key events in the film, but I'll get to it later on. There's even a reminder that he should call Ma Kent. He would get so busy being Superman and Clark Kent that he had to be intentional about keeping in touch with his folks. He probably wouldn't need reminders to call Lois though, and I'll elaborate on what I have noticed between them later on. However, that reminder makes me curious. Where is Pa Kent? I'll share my thoughts about him later in the video. Apart from work, Clark will have to deal with cocky colleagues like the mustachioed Steve Lombard, who is present in the trailer. According to his comic book background, Steve is one of the Daily Planet's leading journalists and the planet's top sports editor. Steve was a former pro football player with a brash and arrogant personality. This makes him clash with Clark, whom he believes is a pushover. Steve would pull childish pranks on Clark and get angry at him from time to time. We even see one of those iconic comic book angers when Clark almost collided with Steve when he arrived at the Daily Planet. Still, even after the pranks and the clashes, Steve could like Clark as he does in the comics and consider Clark a genuine friend. Clark would need a lot of friends because of the pressure he is under, especially as the people of Metropolis hate him. Clark would battle monsters in the upcoming movie.
He's an it.
The first is a giant fire-breathing axolotl, which has armored skin. Superman has battled his fair share of monsters in the comics, but not so much in live action, unless you count Nicolas Cage's Superman CGI battle with a giant spider in the Flash film. Seeing Superman going against the axolotl is impressive, but even more impressive is his awareness that his fights could affect other people. In one scene, Superman tries to prevent a building from collapsing during his battle with the axolotl, and when the monster kicks debris towards a little girl, he rushes to rescue her and make sure the girl isn't hurt. His action transforms this scene completely. Superman runs at super speed and puts his body between the girl and the debris. He puts his hand over the girl's head to prevent anything from hitting her. But that's not all. Because Superman is running at super speed, if he doesn't try to secure the girl's head, it could snap and end up killing him. You have to love a thoughtful Superman. However, despite trying to prevent death and destruction, Superman is not always successful, as some of the buildings in Metropolis would get destroyed during his battles. This would anger the citizens of Metropolis. Despite Superman looking burnt up and hurt from his battle with the monster, they protest against him and even throw stuff at him when he walks towards Stag Industries. Although I don't think I'd try to piss off a superpowered being who could take me out before I say buzz off. This brings me back to what was on Clark's bulletin board, the part about environmental justice. I think that Stag Industries is behind the creation of the giant axolotl. Axolotls are amphibians and they live in freshwater lakes. The monster attacking Superman could have been created due to waste Stag Industries dumped into the lakes. The company's owner, Simon Stagg, is way worse than you think. He would do anything for profit, and dumping harmful chemicals in the environment is the least of what he is capable of. Simon can be vindictive. In the comics, he hired Rex Mason, a mercenary, to retrieve the Orb of Ra from an Egyptian tomb. However, when Rex falls in love with Stagg's daughter, Sapphire, Simon Stagg attacks and traps Rex, exposing Rex to the orb. The orb turned out to be a radioactive meteorite, and it mutated his body and gave him the ability to shapeshift into any element or combination of elements. Rex vowed to use his powers for good and became the hero Metamorpho, who made a cameo in the trailer. However, not all of Stagg's actions have positive effects, and Superman could have entered the building to check or shut something down. In this scene, we get introduced to Guy Gardner, Hawkwoman, and Mr. Terrific. These three wear uniforms made from the same material and have the same Lord Tech branding on their uniforms. Maxwell Lord owns Lord Tech, and he likes to sponsor superhero teams. I don't think these three work directly for Maxwell Lord. Because of the color scheme and material of their costume, they could be members of Terrific's team, but get funding from Maxwell Lord. They wouldn't be the only superhero associating with a known villain, according to the trailer. While his uniform may not be the iconic green long-sleeve jacket and boots, I think Guy doesn't look bad in this new costume. He and his teammates seem to be cooperating with Superman, with Gardner using his ring to create a screen to prevent the angry mob from looking in on what Superman was doing from outside. My first thought was that they helped Superman fight the axolotl, but if they did, their costumes wouldn't look as neat as it does in the trailer. Maybe they were too late to assist Superman, or they were there to take him in. They are getting sponsored by Maxwell Lord, which really confuses what their intentions would be. If they are trying to bring in Superman, they wouldn't be the only ones who want to. Superman engaged in a destructive battle with a superpowered man in a black costume in an empty stadium. Different theories appeared on the internet on who the person was, especially when set pictures appeared on the web. The picture shows the man in black with a black helmet, with a woman dressed the same way minus the helmet, arresting Superman. The superpowered man has a U logo on the front of his costume, and many people believe that he is Ultraman, but I think he would be a Superman clone created by Lex. There is another picture of the film showing the two together. The man in black, being a Superman clone, makes a lot of sense because, in the picture that was released, he is about the same height and frame as Superman and as strong as him. It even appears that this being could fly. I think the masked man would do more than just arrest Superman. He would also attack Superman's Fortress of Solitude. In one scene of the trailer, Superman is crying over a destroyed robot, which could be after the attack on the fortress. I think the attack on the fortress would happen after he recovers from the vicious attack that left him gasping for air when the trailer began. Krypto, the superdog, rescued him, and Lex could have used Krypto's tracks to find where the fortress was.
Home. Take me home.
Lex hates Superman so much, and I think he has Superman's greatest weakness, Kryptonite. In the trailer, Lex has a gun with him, but normal bullets don't work on Superman. So knowing how smart Lex is, the bullets have to be something that would work. Owning Kryptonite bullets aside, I think Lex would work with one hero to help destroy Superman. When we first see Lex's company in the trailer, there is someone on the roof trying to get in. Gunn has confirmed that the person is the Engineer, a hero and a team member of the Authority. She has power over technology which could serve Lex's agenda. Maybe she would help him build his iconic supersuit to help him battle Superman. In Zack Snyder's Superman, Lex kidnapped Superman's mother, Martha.
Where has he hidden it?
I don't know.
But I don't think this movie would go in the same direction. If it did, instead of attacking the Fortress of Solitude, Lex would go after her instead. Besides, it would be difficult for anyone to think Clark is Superman. Like Christopher Reeve's portrayal of the hero, David Cornswet also hunches his back to reduce his height. David Cornswet took his portrayal of the hero to a different level by making sure Clark and Superman have different hairstyles. As Superman, Clark's hair looks messy and tangled. However, as Superman, it seems like he's got a super barber on super speed dial. Superman's hair and stronger posture would throw many people off, but Lois would know he is. Will she find out by herself, or will he tell her? Lois and Superman shared tender moments in the trailer, but their relationship would be so much more. I think Lois would end up motivating Superman to continue being a hero. In a scene from the trailer, there was a rampaging orb in the sky. Superman looked like he didn't want to intervene, and Lois was motivating him to. What could have made Superman want to quit? Could it be the attack on the fortress? Or the people turning on him, or worse? The trailer didn't show Martha Kent, but we know she's alive because Clark has reminders to call her. However, there are no similar reminders for Jonathan Kent, his father. I think this could be because Jonathan is hurt. They did share a moment in the trailer, but I think that part would be a flashback, and Pa Kent is actually dead. With what Superman has been through in this trailer alone, this movie could be the darkest Superman movie yet. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's have a chat about it.